All right, YouTube, this is the install on a 95 Mustang push to start. This is probably like the third stage of the install. Basically, your biggest difficulty is getting this starter switch wired up right and figuring out which wires are which. As you can see, there's the module there. And this was a solution basically to a problem with the ignition barrel. You can see this 1 second. See if I can get a good look. Okay, so I replaced that. That's the push to start button there. I didn't want to continue to have hassles with this barrel because it essentially breaks and it's notorious for breaking. So I actually started it up and some plastic part in the key barrel snapped and the car wouldn't shut off. I could not start the car. So I had to go and open the trunk, or the boot as they say in England, and hit the inertia switch. That cut off the fuel and it was basically dead end from there. So lesson learned. I thought, all right, well, what can I do? I've seen the other toggle switches which look more like race cars, and I thought about that, and it was only like 12 bucks on eBay, and I thought, well, you know what, no, I'm going to go a different path with this, because eventually I want to delete all the door locks and I want to delete the handles and sort of really make this SN95 modern. So these are your cables here on your switch. I struggled with this forever. Here's my ground, because the wiring diagrams for it that you get online are a bit tricky. But anyway, once you figure it out, okay, so I've got power running here. I've got ground, just connect it there on the steering column. This yellow wire that comes with this PKE system goes to the pink and white. Okay, that's your pink and white. That's going to your starter motor. So that means you got to push in the clutch, and there's a switch that closes once you push the clutch in, sends signal to the starter motor, off you go. You got another brown wire, which is position, well, it says gear 2 off. So that brown wire is going to a gray and yellow wire that's next to the trigger. And then you've got a blue wire, which is your ACC. Now, on what you're going to be understanding about is the ACC on the SN key ignition switch is when you turn the key backwards once from the stop position, from the off position, and that let you run your radio when you're in park, so you didn't have to run all your 12-volt supply. So that basically becomes connected to this black and yellow wire. All right, then you've got a white wire that's going to a brown and tan wire. That is initially your ignition switch, which also is connected on a circuit board to your starter, your fuel pump. So if you don't connect that one right, that's the key one. If you don't get that one right, you're screwed. And that took me forever to get right. These extra wires here are basically accessories. You're supposed to hook up a wire to your brake switch, but I'm going to bypass that and hook it up somewhere else. I can stop the car without actually having to do that right now. So I'm going to leave that. It's not really a safety feature, in my opinion, when you've got a 5-speed. But the difficulty I also had was getting the remote central locking hooked up, because it's got like a red and a green wire. Okay, now these are supposed to connect to this harness here somehow, which is one, but on the instructions that came with the PKE, it says you got to hook it up to the switch itself. So I had to basically run wire. I don't know if you can see this. Let me see if I can get the right angle. I had to run wire from the inside of the car through the door with a hanger, come out through here, and basically connect here. So this was my solution to having the central locking. There's another wire that you can hook up to your speaker, which I'm going to do in a minute. But basically, this is the initial setup, and I'll show you it running in just a second. But I just wanted to give you the wiring, because this is the biggest hassle with trying to get this sorted out. Your wiring is crucial here, that you get this right. Obviously, you want to solder and heat shrink, but you got to appreciate, with the angle that you're at, And the fact that it's 37 degrees out today, I think hooking it up like this for now is just enough. Because if I didn't have the exact wiring diagram, everybody else had like the old Fox body trigger switch or something else. So I had to do trial and error. So there's really no point in soldering anything until I was sure. What I'll do is I'll leave it like this for now, tape it up real good. And then once it warms up a little bit, or I can get into a garage, I'll go ahead and tighten that up, make that real pretty and make it look cool. But super excited when I got it finally there, because it leads to other more complex systems that you can install now that you know what your trigger switches are and what your ground switches are, whatever. So again, PKE remote push start, okay, with central locking. And that's video 1.